name's John.
Intro to the stats, then the werewolf gameplay, and then the build. I hope you enjoy. best choice are orc because of less stamina cost, less ulti cost, more DPS, the fastest in-game, and 4 bar rotation, many more abilities to use. I used the Warrior Mundo Stone and the Cameron Throne for both stats, health, stamina and stamina recovery, and here we go, 24k of health, but in the PvP are 32k with 28k of stamina. That's our naked, the stats here, and 1400 of stamina recovery. And if I use my skill, the Bounded Armament, which gives me 8% of additional stamina, and the Ring of Perseveration, which gives 10% of additional stamina recovery, then 1649 of stamina recovery, plus I'm protected in this ring, 8% less damage. And if I buff up first the weapon damage, 4430 of weapon damage, that's our naked, because I got 3 sets which stacks up this number up to 7500 of weapon damage. And the stats on the main bar, from the overload bar, I got 20k of spell and physical resistances with 2000 of crit resistances, which I pretty like 5 medium AoE ring, and that's pretty good. On the back bar with the sword and shield, I got more resistances, 23k 670 of both spell and physical resistances, also in the ring inside, and when I drink the potion we got 1500 of stamina recovery. And yeah, the weapon damage are a little bit less, but these are you save as bar when you block. And on the overload bar with Daedric Minefields protected in the circle, then you got the same resistances, 23k with the physical, and crit 2k and 32k of stamina, to 1k more. That's RTT 7500 not transformed, and here transformed 9000 of weapon damage, you melting down all. And that's our the naked stats from the werewolf, resistances 25k spell and 23k of physical. And that stacks all up with the light attacks. You got 3 sets which procs with the light attacks and can stacks up 1 light attack to 20k of damage, and you fearing and you stunning them off balance, then a 40k of additional damage altogether. Yes, quick into the sets. On the main bar, dual wield 2 swords, every sword 2.5% additional weapon damage, 5% additional weapon damage on the main bar. And yeah, I use in near opponent with shock damage, because that both can proc implosion from the sorcerer passive, and the offhand 348 of additional weapon and spell damage together with Molakina at 520 makes 800 additional damage when I do 2 light attacks. And on the back bar 20% decisive for regain faster ulti. And yeah, the shield also Clever Alchemist with the hands in divines, and also the feet are in divines. This makes with the weapon then 5 altogether, and the 653 for 15 second spell and weapon damage. This when you drink your potion that activate the Clever Alchemist. And the second set, the Raging, that's casual when that's procs. I got 2 heavy, both in impen, and I completed with the necklace, all in weapon damage, and 8% chance to procs, and another 630 for 10 seconds. So with Molakina you got then 6 second full DPS window, and this makes so fun because the third set are Molakina in divines medium, and also the helmet in medium. All 3 sets stacks together, yeah, 560 additional for 6 seconds. And as a werewolf procs that on light attacks, doesn't cost that, and stacks up the whole weapon damage. I'm wearing 5 medium and 2 heavy, 2 in impen and 5 in divines. And here we go on the skill main bar, Bounded Armament, because gives me 8% of additional stamina on all 3 bars. And the trap are pretty good, because you immobilize them for 7.2 seconds, and when he's trapped, gives you a 10% of additional crit. When you dodge roll, you already got 20%. Yeah, and here, because you can make him off stealth in the PvP, and when you press the button, all cost 28% less. So that's cost before 5,000 and now 3,000, and this is just 1,500 of stamina for this small 3 seconds. When you use, I press this button and then immediately the ring of preservation, so that costs very much less, not 5,000 but 3,000 then, and that protects you 8% less damage, gives you 10% of additional stamina recovery, and why I use it, every ability gives me a 3% of additional weapon damage by the fight guild passives, and when I use the potion and activate the ring, I got 1,600 of stamina recovery. Next skill, absorb magic, very important, because you absorb this damage and you heal you up for this 15% of your max of health, which are very high in the PvP, and you take less damage with the ring of preservation together, and when you block 8% of less, cost less, and that's your executioner. The final hit 300 of additional damage and heals you up for 60% of health, and under 25% makes you execute them. You need minimum 1 ability from the dual wield, and that's your ulti on the main bar. Transform it, you fear up 3 to 4 enemies, and your light attacks makes a bleed damage over time, and you have like 2 pets. The pact leader got like 2 pets, so I got a longer uptime in the werewolf form, a 40% longer transformed time for burst up and keep up the high damage. And yeah, let's see in the passive, yeah, 18% of additional weapon damage when you are transformed. And here when you are hitting every 3 seconds, so when you are hitting you can practically keep up the werewolf the whole time, and I had also over 8 or 10 minutes when you hound the mobs. And here you see a 20% for each pet, and when you are transformed you got 2 pets, which makes also a little bit of damage. They are your friends, and it's really funny to play, because all these sets in the werewolf form stacks up together, all 3 sets, and it goes over 8,500 of physical weapon damage on your normal and werewolf abilities, plus light attacks, which gives also diseases damage on the abilities. And if you got the Dragonite, which pushes you up at 20% additional weapon damage, you reach over 10k of weapon damage in the PvE and PvP, and that's your first skill. You gap closer, which stun 2 seconds, set them off balance, additional 10% of weapon damage, and you rest longer in the werewolf form from far away. And here Cynic's Rage, you can heal up 3-4 times and use the potion, and over 20 seconds additional 10% of weapon damage, and that gives you major brutality over 22 seconds, 20%, and you set them off balanced also. And the Hull of Agony, that can crit over 26k of physical damage and stunning them for 3 seconds, and deals 30% additional damage when it's feared. And here that's your damage over time, diseases damage, and yeah, it's really insane, because makes bleed damage, diseases damage, and the light attacks can reach over 20k, and you can really fast burst up damage, transform it. And here we go, bounded armament on the skills, the back bar. If you don't double slot it, you lose it 8% of additional stamina, and that boosts you up your weapon damage from the back to the main bar, 33 seconds. 20%, and heals you also up when you crit every time, and that's give you this minor maim, 15% less damage for 12 seconds, and gains you minor heroism, so you can boost up your ulti with your decisive acts pretty much faster, and that's a really important skill, because when I activate that together and I block, I practically don't take damage in this time, and also the dodge roll costs really much less because of the passive from the medium armor. 15% cost less, plus 10 makes 25%, almost a 30% less cost of dodge roll in this series. On the back bar, I need the energy overload because it gives me back on the light attacks Magicka, and I have to use 4 other skills. That's the reason why I have it. These are the Daedric Minefield, 4800 of damage, which can also crit and protects you in the circle, so nobody comes nearly. And Bounded Ornament are for and the health and stamina back. Plus you see that I dodge roll, so I can set him off balanced also when he follow me, and I can put down always my Daedric rune when I want, when I drink the potion, which gives me a speed buff over 40 seconds, or 30 seconds, I'm sorry. So I got an uptime, I run really much 50% faster. And here you see dark conversion, so I can gain back my stamina, so I never run out of stamina. I use the whole Magicka for gain back my stamina, and also the shock ball from far away can also crit over 22 or I think 24k, so you can really much battle and stay here in the ring of preservation, which take less damage, like the healer skill. And let's go in the champion points. The Warlord 12% for breaking free, Mooncalf 13% stamina recovery, and a Magicka 7%, which synergize with the Sorc passive. And here on the full charge it heavy attacks, because heavy attacks makes 11% of additional damage by the bounded element, I forgot to say, and tumbling for the dodge roll, which makes 80% less cost, and 9% of the whole block cost together with the passive from the one sword and shield, so makes I think 40% less. And here on the light attacks 30% more damage when I stack and proc my Molachina and all other sets. Direct damage 20%. I need to put so many points here because I wanna lock off the tactician. Here when you block 30% on a light attack, so when you block after 60% on a light attack, and when you block from the melee you have a 50% chance to swap back the damage, and the Butcher a 5% additional damage under 25% of health, which is good with my Bloodthirst together. And here the Tactician, when I dodge roll I set him off balanced, and on the other side I locked off Concussion here, or not exploit the passive, which stack up 10% additional damage. And in the Thaumaturge I didn't have so many left points, just one, and precise strike 40% because with the trap beast at additional 10% and setting of balanced another 10% stacks up to 34% of when that's crit. And here for the whole disease damage as a werewolf and the whole weapon damage at 14%. Iron Cloth 10% and spell resistance is a little bit as werewolf, which is pretty good, and for the crit resistance because when I dodge roll I lock off a little bit more resistances for 3 seconds, and when I take a crit almost 300 I reach in the PvP PvE 245 of health, so every crit in gives me back this health, and a 40% of damage over time reduces with Hardy and Elemental Defender, pretty much the same points. And here also a chance to absorb Restore Magicka when you block, then a crit can heal you up, and the Unchainted important passive I find. And that was it for the champion points. And yeah, the Beast Trap, and from the back part Power Surge for more damage, and from the Overload bar I take Mounted Armament, I go back, I Pierce Armor, main, then 2 light attacks and Bloodthirst between with light attacks for boost up then. And now you see also the Ravaging was proccing. Now we got Molekina and Ravaging together 7500 of weapon damage, and goes away the Molekina right now, and the Ravaging are the red one, which Illuminoids, and now is gone away and unbuffed 4430 of weapon damage. And I pretty love the build. This makes fun. And together with the Dragonite, 2 werewolf together, you are unbeatable. This makes fun. And let's see, like the werewolf, I get close for take up long, a light attack, then off balance 10%, plus I roar and I hear Cianis give me 40% additional damage. You see 70k on a light attack, 18k on a light attack, and yeah, 8246 of weapon damage. And when you rolling down and that crit, all 24k, but can crit also for 28k ahead in the PvP. And then you gap close always, and you give him a damage over time, diseases damage, and the light attacks gives bleed damage, plus you fear him. And yeah, that's it guys. Peace out.